Beautiful. Welcome back. All right. So it's 3 minutes by 7 a.m. Good morning. It's a beautiful 5th day of May 2025. Everything today is 555. A beautiful Monday. All right. So on Iron Politics, I want us to take a look at what's happening across the country and, of course, dissect them one by one and make sense of what we can. Of course, I know we will. So in studio, I only have Mark Ndingo, who is a governance expert and a political analyst, already in studio. Mark, good morning.
Good morning.
You're well?
I'm well.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
All right, and Wakili George Kitli, who is an advocate of the High Court of the Republic of Kenya, also in studio. Wakili, you're well?
I'm well. Good morning. How are you?
And finally, Danson Mungatana, who is the senator of the great people of Tana River County. Senator, good to see you once again.
Good morning.
You disappeared. Just update us where you are. And how have you been?
I've been well. I think when you see political leaders not so much in Nairobi, it means they are trying to get their ground in readiness, because I think the engines have started cracking.
Yes.
And preparations have started. So we need to get our people ready also for the elections.
Yeah.
So otherwise, it's been well. We have had rains in our place. We thank God for that. Some production has gone on. So at least I'm sure this year we won't have hunger issues.
Yeah.
We are just worried that the rains may be too much, and you know, we have flooding. That is, if the rains persist for a long time, up country. But so far, so good, and we are looking forward to a good harvest.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Talk of politics. Wakili, the political drumbeats are getting louder, as Senator is saying, and we can all see and hear them drumming all the way from the other side of the horizon, beyond the hills. And the drumbeats are becoming louder and louder day by day.
Yeah, there's good reason.
There's good reason.
There's good reason. You see, it had been quieter if there was a reason to be quiet. But there's a reason to be noisy, and it's going to be noisier than this. The political bed laid so far has not been laid by the people of Kenya. It's been laid by those that are in leadership.
What do you mean?
I'll explain.
All right.
One is the government is not a good communicator to its people, and therefore the people are left to second guess the government and its intentions. There have been obviously complaints and a disgruntled public in terms of the policy of government, its affairs, and how it relates to the people, especially if its administration is pro-people. The last year's budget probably highlighted the highest of the decibels, political decibels of our time, or recent times. And that has continued to excite the public into the political environment that has excited the early political reorganization as we see today. I think if, for instance, the former deputy president was not impeached, there wouldn't be the political decibels and realignments we're seeing today. If there had not been the Gen Z protests, then there would not have been the decibels as we see them today, the political decibels, on account of what then would be the political vote base and the voting pattern in the admission into the voters bracket of the Gen Z, because most of them didn't have IDs and haven't voted before. And also the economic factors that inform the disgruntlement of the public and the complaints that were there. Obviously, because of the Gen Zs, the president has had to walk around to gain legitimacy afresh across the country. And obviously that has not gone all the way because it has been met with its own political affairs. So that then the crystallization of all that into a political environment that crystallizes into a political movement where there is the incumbency and there is the cajolement of the incumbency by those that want to get into power, and so on and so forth. So we'll see more of the jingoism, chest thumping, the drumbeat, and the political decibels even heightening even more. Remember that IBC is being put into place now. We're going to have by-elections very soon, and that then reorganizes the country into some political fiefdoms of accrediting what will be reorganization of the political environment. We have seen admission of parts of opposition into government, recreating the political debate again.
Yes.
We have seen some being removed from government into opposition, the Umunyoro movement and so on and so forth. And yes, the political decibels are continuing to climb. We haven't reached the highest because we're not yet there, but like Moshimo has said it, Moshimo Danson, it is, the ground is shifting into a political reorganization of sorts, and so forth and so. I'm
just trying to imagine. IBC is not yet in place, but the beaters of the drum are already in action. So what if, Mark, IBC is in place, we have got everything in place, and now we have a political field, well paved, and there is a very good turf for people to dance. I'm just imagining how louder it's going to get.
As usual, politics will always be there, and with or without the IBC, the leaders, those in power, those who want to be in power, will always want to play politics.
Yes.
Once a leader or a politician is elected, the first thing he does is to protect his vote base. And once you are also elected, you have people who you are competing with. And the same people will always want to take over from you. So you'll find immediately after elections, people will want to continue doing the elections because there are those who want to continue being the leaders of those areas.
Yes.
And there are those who would want to take over from you. So in our case, in the situation we are today is a continuation of what has always been there, because even with the previous years, that was between 2017 and 2022, when the Jubilee government was elected, immediately we saw leaders started campaigning just immediately after the elections. So I think it has been something practiced all over every time we have elections. So I see a situation whereby before 2027, we are going to have high-level election politics, because as Wakil has said, the climax came in 25th June last year when we had the Gen Z revolution. The politics of the day was a bit quiet, but after that incident, I think everybody now is trying to find where he can get some alignment for the future elections. So I think with the coming days, we are going to see more and more of elections within the leadership and those who want to be in the leadership.
Okay. Senator, even as you also comment on that, let me ask you, how short is the political cycle? How short is it between after election and the next? Because there seems to be no rest for the political class. I use that word deliberately. So how short is this time? Because Wanjiku is here, but the other side of the political class, they seem to be like a blink of an eye. After election, then there's another one. How short is it? As a politician, give me a perspective.
I think, let me just say that I'm also the head of delegation for the Pan-African Parliament, which is the Kenya delegation there. And we sit in that African Parliament 3 sessions in a year. And I'll tell you, I was in South Africa when they were having their elections. It was very quiet. And you know that Tanzania is also preparing for elections.
Yes.
It's also very quiet. But Kenya somehow, I don't know, we are like...
what happens
we
to
are
us?
always,
How special are we?
We are always very, very, very active.
Yes.
Which is a point of a lot of admiration from so many African countries. And it has its backside, I mean its bad side, but it's a point of admiration for many African countries, because when we are there, everybody's talking about Kenya, you know, Kenya this, Kenya that, Kenya that. But it is a good thing, I think, to be vibrant. However, we must also give chance to those in office to perform. And this means over time, after, you know, all these, because I believe that the country is developing. From independence up to now, we've had like almost around 6 decades. And so we are developing as a nation. And we have come to a point where there's a lot of transparency in this country, which is good. But I think we also need to have a thinking about how much time do we need to give to those in office to deliver?
Yes.
And in particular, how much time do we need to give governors in office? Because governors are very key. And the president, because these are the main executive people who are in executive offices.
Yeah.
Members of parliament, they are also, to a certain extent, they have some funds which they execute. But the main people are these 2 categories of leaders in government. And I would have Kenyans listening to me reminded that in the US, the Congress, every 2 years, people are elected. So there's never a stop. Every 2 years, you are having elections. And every 2 years, senators, we stay 7 years in the US. Governors, some states, they do 4. Some states, they do even one year. But in general, the political space is very active in the US, so that you cannot say this and do this.
Yeah.
People are always following what is happening, which I think is good. But I think also we need to balance that by giving chance to the people who are in office to perform. And for me, I keep telling my colleagues that less politics and more work. You don't need to answer to people. You know, I mean, like I'm in office, for example, now. I never engage in, you know, back and forth with people. I have my programs. I know my role is to legislate, to oversight, and to represent the people of Tana River County. So when I go there, I do my work. There are people, who, it rubs them politically bad, it rubs them nicely, but I don't bother, because I'm in office, and I know if I'm to retain the same seat, I have to run on record. But the distraction comes when we start answering those who want those offices. We answer back, and this back and forth, then the whole climate is spoiled. And then what you're trying to do is not reflected, because people now have a certain you know, idea against you or for you, and it doesn't reflect the work you're doing. So for me, I think for us who are in office, we should focus on delivering on the promises we gave them. We should focus on delivering on what we intended to do when we came into office, and keep at it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the other guys from out will keep throwing stones and doing what, but
which is very normal, all right?
Just keep focus.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, like the president keeps saying, the exam will come in 2027.
Okay. I'm asking this
we'll
question,
agree.
Mheshimiwa, so that we open up the conversation.
Yes.
After just a couple of days, we've seen a lot of political movements, starting from Kisii. Fred Matiang'i, the former CS, was away. He came back. He went for that triumphant, you know, welcome back home.
Yes.
And then over the weekend, he was in Wamunyoro. So my question to you, again, coming to you, Wakili Kithi, the political drumbeat that you're trying to see, the political realignments and groupings and all that, what do you see? Somebody would say that all right, they are the same faces, but in politics there's nothing like new faces. Only ideas is what will count at the end of the day.
Or neither.
Or neither.
Or neither.
Okay.
You see, my position is, and I hope I'm right, that people react to you according to what you give them.
Yeah.
So people characterize you because you have characterized yourself. It is what you say and behave that we have a position that we take.
What you're known for.
Yes. And you'll not be known by your heart because we have no business in your heart. But we believe, and I think I'm right to say, that the mouth and what comes out of your mouth in your words, what you promise and do, because if you don't promise, there'll be no legitimate expectation as against any word. But if you make a pronouncement of a road, of doing, of undoing, of anything, and you make it public, and that's it. We have a pedestal against which we have a measurement to put. You know, if you keep quiet, I have nothing to measure you against except your dress code, how your hair make is, maybe some fashion and style, and so on and so forth. But if you put across certain words, because words will be measured, because they communicate. So you communicate to the public, and you excite the public within the context of your communication. And therefore, you must restore some dignity of the personality in an office in a manner such as to be responsive to the people's will, wish, and the context of what you serve. If you come to my village where we are desperate for ABCD with water, education, whatever it is, and you tell us you'll build the hospital that we want so badly, you will build the road that we want so badly, and you'll solve our problems. But then you do not do anything at all. Or if you do, you do it in order to lip service us. What then is the context of our relationship with you? Remember, there is no enforceable contract between a person elected into office and the people that the person serves. There's nothing enforceable save as to review the same over time so as that the person will be elected into office again or not. And if it is so, then the only remedy is to keep talking at the person. And that is provided for and allowed. And it is why we are contextualized into social movements as a people.
And when you see, for example, the former deputy president, Wamunyoro is a very busy place of late. What do you make of this? Hosting Kalonzo Musyoka, Matiang'i was there, Karua was there, and a host of other former leaders. Some are current, some are not in government already.
Contextualizing that.
How busy is that place?
It's a good thing, and it's very busy. And some of us may busy ourselves to such environments and so on and so forth. You know why? It is because when you kill something that's supposed to be operational and alive, something else springs up. You won't kill the voice of the people. The opposition, led by Raila Odinga, joined government. And the supposition then, in fact the context then, was that there was no opposition because the flag bearer of the opposition was in government. But you see what has happened? Another opposition was recreated. And now the formation and perception, and obviously the collection of the psyche is aggrandizing into one, that the leader of opposition is emerging from the Wamunyoro turf. In effect, therefore, the policies of opposition is being played out within the context of the Wamunyoro movement as is emerging. Because as will have been played, it's no longer being played within the context of Raila Amolo Odinga's turf, as has been the norm for maybe 20 years or a decade or so. So then the question as to why is it busy is because it's the alternative to what would have been if the opposition was settled in the manner as was designed after election. The opposition as was designed then was that the leader of government and presidents was with, domiciled with Dr. William Ruto, and the opposition was Raila Amolo Odinga. When that merged, then there was a subtle and settled thought that, it is easy because government has been joined by opposition.
Very good.
Not knowing that the context then will that inevitably there will be need for a voice for the people in opposition to government, rightly or wrongly, but in effect, therefore.
Let me bring in
Yes.
Mark here. Mark, Kalonzo Musyoka, you're a member of Wiper, right? And what was that? What do you read out of this? It was a very busy place over the weekend.
Yes. The Wamunyoro is going to be busy. It was very busy over the weekend. It has always been busy for the last few days. And I believe this is so because, something happened before we could know what Gachagua was. That is a former deputy president. When he was impeached from the National Assembly, before then, he was not that famous. He was just a deputy president who was trying to find a footing in Mount Kenya because it was being contested between him and the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. But after the impeachment, it somehow gave him some opportunity to governize the Mount Kenya region into one.
And this is one of the things that made him to be impeached.
Yes. This is one of the things that made him to be impeached. But remember, in Kenya, our Kenyan politics is local.
Yes.
And we are all tribal. Impeaching Gachagua because he was being tribal was not the best way because even when you look at the leadership that we have, you'll find not even a single leader can claim to be not tribal. So when Gachagua was impeached from the National Assembly, I think with the sympathy and the time to go around the Mount Kenya, I think it has given him more following than he had before.
So
and that's why you find every single person wants to associate with him, simply because Central Province or Mount Kenya, it has a large vote base. And everybody would want
including your party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka.
Including my party leader, because everyone would want to associate with Mount Kenya, simply because there is a big vote base. And I think it's not just because Mount Kenya has a rich vote base, it's because we are having some governance issues with the current government. And that's why you find even Gachagua, who was pushed by the Gen Z and lately by the former president, has also joined the Wamunyoro team. And I think it's something which is going to be interesting in the coming days, because as the 2027 elections approach, they will have to maybe pick one candidate from the team, which also is going to get us to a better position of having a very united opposition that can challenge the current government.
All of these are senior members of this country, Senator. You've worked with them.
Yes.
And you know them on a personal level.
Yes.
When you look at that lineup and the visit, well, somebody will say it was, when you go to visit someone, there's nothing wrong in visiting someone, but there's a political connotation to it.
Yes.
Matiang'i visiting there, Gachagua, Matiang'i, Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka, and a host of other leaders. Of course, the eye is on 2027.
Correct.
Is it going to achieve the ultimate goal?
No. No. You see, here, there's a position that is being propounded by Gachagua, and it seems to have some following. Personally, I will impeach Gachagua today, tomorrow, every other day, because you cannot be a deputy president or a president for that matter, and then you come out openly to tell people, I'm championing the interest of one region. And I remember when I filed the notice of motion for censure. I said it as much. I said as a senator from Tana River County, then I also we need a deputy president who champions for the Coast Province. We need a deputy president who champions for Nairobi, for Northeastern, for Rift Valley. You know, that kind of thinking, I think, is very outdated, and it is wrong for this country. That you can come, aspire for national position, but in fact, you're just a village thinker. So anytime I will impeach him. And he started by bringing the issue of 1 shilling, 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. And I remember I also came out strongly to say, look, some of our counties, like Tana River, we have big land mass, but small populations. So if you start saying 1 shilling, 1 vote, what you are saying is you are alienating the treasury from us. And we need this money as much as you need it to develop our regions. So for me, a person who comes out and say tribalism should be the guiding factor, tribalism should be the factor that determines political parties, political affiliation, I think that kind of person, we must fight them. We must fight. In fact, Kenyans must look at these people and ask themselves, these people, if you come out and say, I'm championing the interest of Kisis, I'm championing the interest of Mount Kenya, I'm championing the interest of the Kamba people, and you're aspiring to a national position, I think you're doing a great injustice to this nation. And I will still stand here and tell you that even though it may sound very popular, I may be very popular in my village, my own small village, that I am telling them, when I get there, my people, you will be in the kitchen, you will be given more schools, you'll be given more roads, my people will cheer me, but behind, after my village, who else is cheering me? Who else is cheering me? And let us think about this nation in terms of the future. If we have political parties congregating in terms of their tribal bases, where are we taking this nation? What are we telling our children? Don't intermarry, you know, because you'll produce children who are half or quarter and whatever. Like I was a product of different tribes. My children are products of different tribes. So what are we telling this country? Are we Kenyans or are we different tribes?
All right.
So let me just finish by saying.
I'll give you time to talk to that. But you know, the same reason why you moved that censure motion against him is the same reason why many people are actually now rushing to get him.
Yeah, that's why I want.
Let's just take a break. I want to serve you tea. I want to serve you tea.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hii ndio ile location nimepokea. Hii kibuyu inakaa ile ilitumiwa na kina Deta Kimato kupigania independence. Hii unafaa ushike. Nisamee tu tafadhali.
Hebu songa. Nakwambia ukijaribu kuleta hindo. Na nanda kuambia maafisa hii.
Sema sole. It is a taboo for an African woman to be on top ya roof.
Hakuna mchezo sasa. Sisi huko sasa
Wewe
Kuja nikubebe. Nini?
Unafanya mdomo madharau mako sana.
Hii ni XP. Hii ni shika yeye.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
All right, welcome back. So, Senator, I'll give you a minute so that you finalize your statement.
I was just finalizing this point that we need to look at more developed countries. I've just seen Australia.
Yes.
They have concluded their elections, and you will see what they were fighting. It's ideas, ideas, I've just seen the new Canadian Prime Minister also, who has just won his election. And again, what was he talking about? Ideas. And the main thing there was the other side and this other side. How shall we engage with America, the new America that has Trump on the chair? And these other guys convinced the other people that we are better set to engage Trump, and they elected him. And so they expect results. The same America, there were these ideas, and the new Trump who came in and said, we need to put America first. We need to protect our economy. We don't need to pick up the tab for our military bases outside there without those people paying something to us. I mean, we need to be a little selfish for our nation. And they accepted those ideas and voted for him. Now, in Kenya, I just need to be a Pokomo to go and tell people, vote your own.
Yes.
And that is a sad, sad thing. And we must take a stand and say, let us fight for ideas. Even if it costs, but we must tell the truth, because the truth is what is going to help this country. If I am for tax increment, and I think that the nation will go better if when I get into government, I need to do this and that and that, and I need your taxes. And the other guy is coming in to say, no, we don't need taxes. What we need is to tie up the holes for corruption and or tax administration, whatever it is that you propose. And then there are two forces fighting, and then one of them wins, then you expect certain results. But if you say that I'm your own, just vote for me because I'm your tribe, then I can come in and totally abuse my office. And what did you get? You got what you wanted. You just wanted your own to be in the kitchen cooking. Who is eating that food? You don't care. And I think our country needs to move to a higher level of politics.
But it seems that's the kind of politics that we are used to as Kenyans.
We are used to that, but then we don't sit down and say, we surrender, we say now we are all going to be tribal. I think we need to still tell our children that with good ideas, with hard work, you are going to be able to deliver this country. Don't just come and say it's my tribe and then you sell it.
All right, Mark, there is a push to bring back the Gema community as a block. Go ahead.
I think I want to comment on what Mheshimiwa here has said. The problem we have with tribalism is not within the people themselves, but is on the leadership. Because there is a simple way to kill tribalism. If we elect somebody, a leader, who wants to do away with the tribalism, the first thing he must do is to bring all the community together. But you find that every time, for the last 10 years, we've had a government. Good example was in 2017, in 2013, when Uhuru and the current president were elected, what happened after they were elected? The government was formed by two communities. You find Kikuyus are 10 ministers, Kalejins are 10 ministers. And if we continue to have such kind of leadership, our people will always want to be associated with their leaders. And I think we can change from that by electing people who are going to bring all the communities together. Simply, you don't become a president, and once you become a president, you want also to work with only the people who elected you. You should even go further and work with the, not necessarily working with the opposition, but you can work with all the people by, in terms of appointing them in government, not necessarily because they are going to give you a support in terms of votes, but because you want to bring everybody on board. So I think we have a chance of doing away with the tribalism if we can elect people who want to do what is supposed to be done, and people want to follow the constitution. Because we have a very good constitution, which if followed, it can even bring down this tribalism thing by almost 50%. Because look at the way the appointments are done. The Constitution has given us the best way to appoint people is to look at the regions, you look at the tribes, so that nobody is going to complain that I'm not in government.
Okay.
But I see us failing because even the current government, for you to get development, you have to go and lead to the president. You have to take a delegation to the president so that you can be given some development. So if we can do away with this thing of we are the people in the government and we are the people who are supposed to get development, I think we'll have done maybe a small percentage of tribalism. Yeah.
I want us to get to something else. And Wakili, allow me to ask you this. Is it a tactic that you're trying to see, for example, the president is in Nyanza, to be specific, in Migori County for 3 days. But you can see different leaders, mostly from the opposition or ODM, speaking differently. Tactic, scripted, or deliberate?
Yeah, I think a cocktail of both. Let me put it this way first, because that then probably summarizes the entirety of what you brought up, linking it up with what my good friends have said. Historically, and its recent history, because we're talking about 60 years or so, we were never a nation. We never existed as Kenya.
Yes.
In fact, we were forced into some geographical convenience called Kenya. We existed as some tribes. Of course, as a then not civilized in the context of the laws that we have. So we moved into one geographical convenience called Kenya, and we invented or brought in the independence constitution that was supposed to create us into one society called Kenya, barring the tribe and everything. And that was the intention. In fact, we had a common enemy then that we drove away. Those that got into leadership then had a very good chance to socialize us into the intention of the constitution then. Leadership failed. And the people, therefore, were socialized into each other's difference. And the most important one that is dominant now and then is tribe. The benefits that come with the derivative of government is tribe. And the suffering of a Kenyan, in the mind of a Kenyan, would have been lesser if our own tribe would be in power. And that's the creation of the national psyche as a then that continue to be dominant today. Fast forward, therefore, is that in any society, including your own house and family, there must be a difference. There must be fissures of difference that are dominant. It could be tribe, it could be religion, it could be race, it could be anything. And it's not written anywhere that that difference is wrong. It becomes wrong when it is used in the wrong way in order to oppress others and lift others into opium of sorts. Now, what happens today is that the most dominant feature in Kenya, in our society, is ethnicity. It is tribe. So much so that we have legislated for it and against it at times. More oftenly against it. We speak against it. But that's how we are socialized.
Yeah.
You know, my good friend Danson Mungatana is here because he's a Pokomo representing Pokomos.
Not true.
Wait.
Not true.
Wait. He's representing Pokomos as...
The senator of
just wait,
Tana River
just wait.
elected by all the tribes.
Just
in
wait.
Tana River.
Just wait.
Speak the facts.
Just wait. When people of a certain area are organized ethnically in a certain fiefdom that has been given that identity, sometimes a tribal identity, they are supposed to vote one of their own into a national congregation called parliament. For instance, the people of Tana River are not all Kenyans. The dominant ones will be seen to be Pokomos, the Giriamas who have settled there, and others. Those will elect someone into leadership. And therefore, it is their interest that ought to be served. They are therefore the fiefdom, the interest that would serve those people to be served. And then at the national level, their interests that ought to be served that are national. So there are specific interests for a certain group that has sent their own representation into parliament. And they are the national interests that ought to be served. What comes first? And the question would be, for me, if I've talked like a Kenyan, is that I'm first served with what is immediate for me, which means ethnicity could come first before national. If we go therefore to represent our own in parliament, what are we representing? We are representing our backyard, the people who have sent us. And therefore they've asked that we can't go
Isn't that what people are trying to run away from?
Exactly. Let me put it this way. What the people are saying is that we've sent you to represent us at the National Assembly so that we cannot all come and speak for ourselves.
Yeah.
But speak for us there. Represent us, because representative is one of them.
Okay.
Now, there's always this discrete of friction of what is national and what is ethnic and what ought to be dominant in that context. What I think ought to be dominant is national, of course. But that's in theory. Because in fact, if you do not serve the people in the manner in which then they've sent you, whether ethnic or otherwise, you don't get re-elected. Now, the best will be serve national, even if it's going to be painful, as much as possible, not be re-elected. But that's in theory. Because in fact, what will happen is people expect you to serve them in the context of where they come from. Are you from Turkana? Are you from Samburu? Are you from Kilifi? Are you from Taita? That's the context. And therefore, what I'm saying is, the society has its own transition. What we talk about ethnicity is not what it was 50 years ago. Because people have intermarried. People have intellectualized society and people have gone to school. I'm able, therefore, to relate at the national level as opposed to my own village level because I'm socialized in an urban setup that has those variations of tribes.
You mentioned Senator and Senator said no.
Yeah, let me just say this.
Yes.
Tribal domination, and I want to say this again, tribal domination is as dangerous as colonial domination. Tribal domination is as dangerous as colonial domination. And it will never be right today, and it will never be right tomorrow. Colonial domination was never right then, it will never be right today. And these are not theories. These are things some of us have lived to make them happen within our small way where we have influence. When I served as member of parliament in Garsen, and Tana River is like a conglomeration of all the tribes because, yes, we have Pokomo, and then we have Orma, we have Warde, we have Wailwanas, we have Munyoyaya, we have Wata, then we have the settling communities like the Giriamas, the Kikuyus, the Luos, and Kampas, and so on, the Merus. But the three main tribes are Pokomo, Orma, and Warde. And I have told the people at that time that when I go to sit in in Parliament as MP for Garsen. I am MP for all of you, you know, not for my tribe. And same, when you come and you are now the senator, it is even aggravated because you are carrying the entire county. And it is not easy. But the easier path is to go into tribal cocoons and do those. So any politician who is doing this kind of politics, these are lazy politicians. Lazy politicians, and they must be condemned even now before the general election. They must be called out. Please stand up and tell me, I'm going to be governor because Nairobi needs this and that. Tana River needs this and that. Mombasa needs this and that. Don't say, I'm going to be governor because I'm a Luya, I'm a Pokomo, I'm a Taita. I mean, that kind of nonsense must come to an end. And the people of Kenya must stand and say no. If truly we want to have this nation move forward, it doesn't matter where we've come from. We have to look at the future and be able to tell our children, look, a Muhindi in Kenya has as much right as you, who is a Kamba. You people go to the same schools. You people speak Kiswahili and English. You people are making a life out of the same economy. Let us build this nation for our own good.
Okay.
Don't tell me that because I come from Tana River, then that is where I should do my business.
Allow me to ask you a question. When you moved that censure motion against former deputy president,
yes,
one of the reasons was he used to mention what were Mount Kenya.
Correct.
All right?
Correct.
And right now we are seeing everybody is now moving towards Mount Kenya.
Correct.
And Mark Ndingo here, who is a member of WIPA,
correct,
there is that call to solidify Mount Kenya to become Gema community.
Yes.
Good or bad?
From where I sit, this next general election, we must test the ideas. You know, you can be selling tribe.
Yes.
And I'm selling, let us reduce taxes. You are selling tribe. And I'm selling, let us have less corruption. You know, you are selling tribe. And then let us see if the country, by the way, I keep saying that you deserve what you elect. You know, if the country says, no, this nation needs to have, you know, one side, you know, the Kalenjin, the Luyas, then this is the way the nation should live. And this is the country that we need. And my idea is that, look, we need to have a nation, we need to have a Kenya that we call a country, is defeated, then it means maybe they are right. So what you should do is divide this country properly. Cut off the mountain. Leave me with my river in Tana River. Cut off the sea. Let me also have my, let's go all the way. If you really believe that the tribe should be the center of everything, then let us divide this country. Let the tribes take their positions, and let us relate like people are arguing in the pre-colonial days. Sell me salt, I sell you, you know, goats. I think, and because you can see the absurdity and the stupidity of that, following that idea to its logical conclusion, then let us take a reverse. Sell something that will help this country grow. Sell something that will help East Africa grow.
It sounds really good.
Sell something that will help Africa grow.
It sounds really good, Senator. But at the end of the day, when people approach election, Mark, we'll always call sisi watu wa Mulembe, sisi watu wa Mulima, sisi watu wa this and that. It has never evaded our lips during elections.
Yeah. Our society, I think, has been socialized in a way that they think of first you start with your community, then you go to the other communities. Even in the simplest seats of MCS, one will start with the clan, go to the region, then later you will go to the ward. For MP, the same. So I think, as I said, what our people should do is to go further and look for leaders who can leaders who don't want to engage in those tribal talk.
Yes.
And there is a question you asked Mheshimiwa here about Mount Kenya. I think what the Mount Kenya leaders are doing is they are saying it openly, as opposed to other leaders who want to talk about their tribes at night, because every Kenyan, every leader in Kenya would want to be associated with this tribe, but many of them will fear to talk about it during the day. But you find them in the night talking about their leaders. They want to be associated with their leaders, with their communities. So I think what we need to do is to do more. Not we don't need to say that we are not going to galvanize communities to vote in one side, and at the same time we say we are going to finish tribalism. So I think one problem that has brought us to this situation is the leaders who have come before before us. Look, a good example, when we got independence,
yes,
we had a president who could have taken this situation and changed the way we believe, and they changed the way our people think about our tribes. Other countries have tried it and they have managed. Good example is Tanzania. They have more tribes than Kenya, but rarely do they speak about one tribe.
Yeah.
You will always find them speaking even a single language of Kiswahili. But look at our country, Kenya. So I think if we can educate our people and we get the right leaders, somebody who is going to do away with their tribe and look further and unite our country in a more unified way, I think we can go somewhere. Yeah.
Wakili, because I only have 5 minutes, let me ask you this question. So what is Wanjiku used to, and can it be changed?
You know, this issue of tribe won't end today or tomorrow. But I want to put it this way. It is good not to have a discussion and reorganize resources based on tribe. It is not good. Yet the representation is made
towards that.
Yes, is made such that we've legislated on it. We actually, that is the dominant topic. In fact, presidency in this country over all the time has had a certain identity, ethnic identity. It is now, it shall forever be.
And that is what Wanjiku used
until a day when we don't have tribe. When shall we not have tribe? And this is the position. Maybe the dominance of tribe must be lesser than merit. That's what we should be looking at. But even if that was the case, how about if you had a whole cabinet of one tribe? How about if that comes? Meritorious, but how about if you had that day? The reason why we say we want to equalize the country through an equalization fund, the reason why we say that it must have whatever appointment that is made within a pool of a certain sector must have the face of Kenya is because most tribes or all tribes must be included. What is an inclusive government in the context of Kenya? An inclusive government is one that takes care of all ethnicity. Let's not beat about the bush. Fact is, we are divided into the dominance of tribes today.
Can it change?
It can change.
How?
It should change because it depends on the leadership of the day. If the leadership of the day is such that you do not make your resource mobilization and distribution, including the appointment and reorganization of society along tribal lines, at least it is not seen to be so. Then what you've done is you've sent a communication
so let's put it this way.
to the
When
public.
you look at Honorable Matiang come from Kisii, all right? Kalonzo Musyoka is from Kamba, etc., etc.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
So it can change.
It can change.
So there's no tribal blocking in as far as these leaders are concerned.
We are having this discussion because there's an election that is coming.
Yes.
On an ordinary day, Akisi doesn't look at a Luo or a Kikuyu as a rival. He looks at him as a Kenyan.
Okay.
And today, I wouldn't look at any other tribe, and Kenyans do not look at each other in the context of tribe on a day-to-day. You enter into a matatu not because you belong to a Somali, or you get into business not because it belongs to so and so. You don't apply for employment because the leader there is from your tribe. You want to look for a job. You go to school not because the head of the school, owner of the school, if it's a private school, it's from a tribe. But this happens and becomes dominant because it is made dominant by the times, such as during
I'll treat that as your closing remark. But, gentlemen, we all know Kenya is mourning. Of course, Kenya lost a member of parliament, Mheshimiwa, a legislator like you, of course. 30 seconds, a message of condolence, of course. This happening, of course, we've heard that 4 people have been arrested, then police are still widening the net in as far as concerned. As a legislator, let me start with you first.
Quickly, I have read something about Charles outside there, but for me, the way we related with him, he was a dedicated member of the gym in the house. And I met a fine gentleman. And I think the people of Kasipul, Kabondo, from what I know about Charles Were, we lost a good man. But I don't know. I'm seeing so many other things. So we say pole, and we wish them a quick recovery. And we pray that he will have good speed. But in my closing remark, I would like to say that that day will come. Whether these tribalists or the people who believe that they need their communities to survive, like it or not, that day will come when Kenya will be a better nation, where I will feel comfortable to settle in any part of this country and do business. And I want to agree that the leadership must take must bite the bullet. In Kigali today, in Rwanda, if you say I'm a Tutsi, or even if you ask somebody his tribe, that guy will report you to the police. So sometimes we need to be rough about it. Tanzania did it differently. Kenya, we can achieve this. And I'm telling these people, they can do their tribal, the majority is not necessarily right. There was a time people believed that we need, the whole world is flat. Oh, everybody believed that, but they were wrong. So people who believe that communities are the ones that must take them to the presidency, I think ideas should take us there. And that day will come one day, because we are also coming there.
Thank you. Mark?
Yeah, on, I think on the people of Kasipul,
yes.
I think it was sad for them to lose their MP, who has been there for the last few years. And also I think it's also not, on terms of security, I think the government should do better to take care of everybody, because if an MP can just be shot like that, it means the ordinary mwananchi can also have a rough time. So may it so rest in peace. On my closing remarks, I think for us to change on the way we run our country, those in the leadership should give us the face of Kenya in terms of employment, in terms of development, and if we start from there, from the top, I think we'll go somewhere.
Okay, a message of condolence, I think.
My condolence to the people and also Kenyans for the loss of one of parliament. He was a legislator for all of us. I must say this as a closure very fast, is that I don't think Kenyans are tribal. They are made to be tribal, obviously by how they are reorganized. Organized as tribal, they will respond. If they're organized such that every person feels part and parcel of the society called Kenya, we still will react to that. It is how we organize that these issues come up.
Thank you.
We hope that a day comes that we don't have to be organized as tribal cocoons, but as Kenyans, as a society, as one Kenya.
Thank you so much. I think that's a good way to end it. Today, it has not been about this or that. It's about us coming together. And by the way, the president has been calling about let's be united as a nation. Thank you so much. Danson Mungatana, who is the Senator of Tana River, asante sana for coming to the show. Mark Ndingo, governance expert and a political analyst, joining me on set, as well as Wakili George Kithi, an advocate of the High Court. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. My name is Victor. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.